There's an Amish community about an hour away from us, and there's a sawmill up there that I ordered lumber from to build our raised beds. We really need to get our raised beds built. So the reason that I'm using rough cut white oak lumber from a sawmill about an hour away, I didn't really think that there was any other good option. Treated lumber is leaching chemicals into your soil. Galvanized steel is leaching chemicals into your soil. Something like composite is plastic, that's also leaching into your soil. We're growing food in these things. We don't want to be putting chemicals in. That's why we raise our own food. Cedar seemed about the best option, but that's crazy expensive. So my dad had used this Amish sawmill for some lumber for his house, using it on his porch and stuff. Looked really cool with the rough cut lumber, and I was like, hey, I could go get it from there. So I went up there and asked him what the price would be, and it is crazy cheap for this stuff. And white oak is rot resistant, so it is just perfect. I'm building raised beds that are 2.5 feet wide, 10 feet long, and 16 inches deep, and it's only going to cost me about $35 per bed for this lumber. So I'm going to go ahead and get these pieces cut up, haul them out to the garden, and get started building one of them. These here are the corner posts for the raised beds. This will go part ways in the ground, and the sides will come into here. Got something you want to tell these folks?
This thing is the bomb for getting asparagus beetles. Just take this and you can just put it right down over the little stalk of asparagus, and it'll take like 6 beetles off just in one, like, shoop. It's amazing.
You heard it from the Garden Ninja. So as usual, things did not go how I wanted them to yesterday evening, and I did not get any raised beds built. And now we've got some trees that we had ordered. We had planted a bunch of evergreen trees at the front of our property out by the road, and we ordered them and they came and they looked really nice, but it was way too wet and muddy to plant them out. And by the time we were ready to plant them out, they just did not look good. They were looking dead. So we told Berlin Seeds, and they were nice enough to send us some replacements, and so we just got those, and these actually look really nice. So we're gonna quick plant these while they're still looking nice. Need to get those in the ground real quick, and then hopefully be able to build a raised bed. So we got the trees planted, and I had to eat supper, and now I'm finally getting back to this. I'm ready to whack this first one together and hopefully get it done tonight. Oh, and I decided to go 3.5 feet wide instead of 2.5 feet wide. 2.5 feet just did not look like enough, so I'm going 3.5 feet. I'm not gonna have quite enough lumber, so I'm gonna have to stop by that sawmill up in Amish country then sometime again and get a little more lumber. Sorry, I know some of these shots are pretty shaky. I had Izzy running the camera for me. He did a good job though. And I've got another little helper out there with me. She was doing her best to help out. Anyways, these raised beds are super simple to put together. So the 8-inch boards get screwed together at the corners, and just 2 8-inch boards stacked on top of each other. And then these corner posts attached. And actually the raised bed is upside down right now. I'll be flipping it over and set it into holes in the ground to hold it in place. But yeah, just screw those corner posts on, and then some posts in the middle to hold it together. And that's basically it. Getting dark out here. Shelly's putting Eden to bed, so I'm gonna have to try to move this thing in place by myself. Come over here and check this out. It is so wet down in this part of the garden. There's actually water in those holes that I dug the legs to go in, which is precisely why we need a raised bed. Right, now time to put some dirt in. This really is spring. It's just one thing after another. I was working on the raised beds last night, literally into the night. It was dark when I finished filling up the one raised bed. And now there's other stuff that needs to get done. We have got to get some stuff planted before it rains within the next few days possibly. And we've got some stuff going tomorrow, so I'm gonna till part of the garden and see if we can get some stuff planted. Hopefully it's dry enough to plant some stuff, and then I'll start working on the next raised bed. There is an annoying neighbor with a tractor over there, but hopefully this will sound all right. Okay, just go ahead.
Cody made me this amazing raised bed, and I'm ready to plant my seedlings into it.
Did you hear that? Amazing.
Yes, he is amazing. I've got peppers and basil and ground cherries. Don't ask me what they are or anything about them because I don't know. My son picked them out of a magazine.
This dirt here really isn't ready to till yet. If it's squishing and you can kind of put it into a ball like that, it's best not to till when it's like that, but we really don't have much choice if we're gonna get this, if we're gonna start getting our garden planted before we get another rain. Here in central Ohio, it just rains a lot in the spring and we deal with this every year. Our garden is always so wet, which is why we're going with the raised beds. What I'm actually gonna do that I think is really gonna help this is I tilled it and I'm gonna put some compost on top of it from our big compost pile, and then I'm gonna lightly till that in, and I think that'll be really nice and loose and it should work fine to plant in.
I always like to pull the roots off the bottom. I like to plant my plants pretty far apart because the further apart you plant them, the more fruit they'll have. I used to squish everything together. Then I just had to take care of more plants and they didn't give me as much. And this right here is kelp. It has lots of trace minerals in it and I like to add that to my plants. As you can see, this soil is amazing. It has like lots of compost mixed into it.
This is looking really nice. Plenty damp, but it should plant nicely and it is just gorgeous. There's tons of earthworms in there. It's dark, it's beautiful.
This may sound extremely elementary, but one of the most, I would say like the most important thing to do for success when you're planting is to water in your seeds or your seedlings. It helps the dirt to settle in around the roots. This watering wand is thebomb.com. Cody will leave a link for it in the description if you're interested. I especially like this wand for like lettuce and things like that you don't want to have a really stiff stream of water that's gonna break your plants and smash them down.
Our first slightly Countrywoman magazine style raised bed.
I'll be honest, I always thought raised beds were for pansies. I don't know.
But we're just trying it. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. We'll see once.
By the way, I didn't mention one other raised bed that people do that I've been seeing a lot recently is people building raised beds out of logs. Now I think that's kind of a cool idea to use up stuff that you have on your property for free and stuff like that, but honestly I don't feel like they look all that great and I don't feel like it's gonna be practical at all. It's gonna be harder to reach over, it's gonna make it a lot wider, it's gonna take up a lot more space. So I mean, good idea, but definitely not for me. That's why I went with the white oak.
We're going to put our sun gold cherry tomatoes first so that the kids can come out here and pick them for me. Pinch this right here and you very gently pull it out, okay? Very gentle. Gently. Oh, this compost is amazing.
Why, thanks.
You could grow peanut M&Ms
Made
in
it
here.
myself. Yep, sit down, move on, keep going.
The compost. These tomato cages are amazing. They fold up so nice for storage. We love these things.
That was a lot of work and I am totally beat. I worked half day today at my day job and came and did all this stuff, planted tomatoes, tilled the garden, put this raised bed in, planted that raised bed, and just a ton of stuff. Totally tired, ready for an iced coffee and a couch. Anyways, watch this video next and make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can see what's coming up next.